seems to still be going, but it paused physically.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're okay. Right. Welcome to the Folk School on Willow Creek, featuring University Distinguished Professor Tom Ezern, singing and telling stories from the Salon on Willow Creek.
I need a bed for the night, boys, and my horses need hay. I've been riding that grove line on the hottish highway. Now, Lord, please lend thine ear the prayer of a cattle king to hear. No doubt many prayers to thee seem strange, but won't you bless our cattle range? Bless the roundup year by year, and don't forget the growing steer. Water the land with brooks and rills for my cattle that roam on 1,000 hills. Now, oh Lord, won't you be good and give our stock plenty of food, and to avert a winter's woe, give Italian skies and little snow. Those prairie fires, won't you please stop? Let thunder roll and the water drop. It frightened me to see that smoke. Unless it stops, I'll go broke. As you, O Lord, my herds behold, which represent a sack of gold. I think 5 cents per pound should be the price of beef the year round. Now one thing more, and then I'm through. Instead of one calf, give my cows 2. I may pray different than other men, still I've had my say, so now amen. Since I muffed the punchline of that one, let's do it again. One more thing, and then I'm through. Instead of one calf, give my cows 2. I may pray different than other men, still I've had my say, so now, amen. Amen. The Cattle King's Prayer. According to the River Press, Fort Benton, Montana, 22nd of September, 1886. The following was picked up on the streets a few days ago. Who the author is, we could not ascertain. Which was a teaser. Next couple of weeks, there's a little back and forth. No, he didn't write it. No, he didn't write it. And they never did quite. The editor never does quite say who wrote it. I've got my suspicions as to who wrote it. I think it was last week, or during the past week, our friend Ben Kabishta said we should make note of the passing of the great Badger Clark. Excuse me. no, there we go.
Not Badger. What?
Baxter. Sorry, Baxter. The passing of Baxter, the great cowboy poet. And we didn't get that news in time to mention it during the Willow Creek Folk School last week, but Baxter Black sometimes would recite the Cowman's Prayer. And this text, or something like it, is often sung or recited at cowboy poetry gatherings. At cowboy church, that's a big thing. I think it started in California, to tell the truth, the best I can tell. But around the American West, these church services, sometimes in the saddle. And the Cowman's Prayer, or the Cattleman's Prayer, it's sometimes called. Now, that song is a little bit tricky. People didn't know where it came from. Late in the past century, Jim Bob Tinsley, he was singing this song, figured he nailed it. He had tracked it down to Socorro, New Mexico, and appeared in the newspaper there, and he believed the song originated in New Mexico. Well, and that was the common knowledge until sometime about a week ago, when I picked this up from Fort Benton, Montana, about 2 months before the New Mexico text. And further, with the newspaper coverage around this and the little back and forth that was going on, it becomes plain that this is the original text. And it's not the Cattleman's Prayer, it's not the Cowman's Prayer, or not the Cowman's Prayer or the Cattleman's Prayer, it's the Cattle King's Prayer. And if you've got some knowledge of Western history and you caught that date, September 1886, then we know all of what unawares, or perhaps there's a premonition, that some cattleman here is about to go into the horrific winter of 1886, 1887. In the middle of this song, some have made note of that what seems like an awkward line, and to avert a winter's woe, give Italian skies and little snow. Well, if you think that's awkward, then you're in a 20th century or 21st century frame of mind. You run that through Ingram, the phrase searcher, and you'll find that Italian skies is a stock phrase, for Italian skies, for cerulean blue skies in the 19th century. And it begins in the first decade of the 19th century and pretty much closes by 1900, but it's a common 19th century term in literary sense. It gives you a hint, however, that the author of this ballad probably wasn't a saddle-sore cowboy, but was in fact a cattle king. Now, that would not work very well today, a cattle king's prayer. That wouldn't have the popular constituency. But along the way, it's morphed into the cowman's prayer, or the cattleman's prayer. Well, this is our real discovery of the week for the Willow Creek Folk School, tracking down what is really quite a beloved set of stanzas. And the ones used today are pretty close to what we find in Fort Benton, Montana in September of 1886. So we've opened with prayer tonight. We're praying for a good connection here. Anybody reporting any problems yet, Suzanne?
They're not reporting any, so we'll just keep going.
Summer internet at the Salon on Willow Creek gets a little dicey at times.
Well, there's leaves on the trees right now, and so we have some interference between the little gadget on our roof that's pointed at the tower in the center of the park in the neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, summer's great and plays heck with the internet here. What's our theme then for tonight? We've listed it as high summer, and we'll kind of get around to that. High summer has arrived a little bit early on the Great Plains this year. Now, for our family and friends in Kansas, wheat harvest is about halfway has penetrated about halfway across the state. It's probably reaching into northwestern Kansas by now.
Well, we have reports from B. Lanning that wheat harvest is underway in Stafford, and von Rothenberger reports the same in Barton and Russell counties.
Each of you feel free to give us any reports. I can give the report from Barton County, and it's damn slim, but decent test weights. Is the reason. Well, all right. Okay. I hope somebody's raising some wheat and makes some money this year. We're a good way away from that here. But, you know, you've had this in the southern states there, southern plains, Oklahoma, Kansas. You've had that string of three-digit days, three-digit temperatures already. We're entering that tomorrow and Sunday here in North Dakota, which is highly unusual in this part of the country.
I think we can handle it, though.
We can handle it.
Yeah.
Many Norwegians will be found prostrate on the sidewalk tomorrow.
Well, I know someone who's going fishing. Yes,
I decided the cold water fish might not bite very well after this weekend. So I'm going to see what I can come up with by way of pike or walleye for a little while. Early tomorrow morning. You know, for, better than a year, I've been working on this sort of mystery of the great anthem of the homesteading era on the plains, Little Old Sod Shanty on the Claim. And the big breakthrough was discovering that's really an adaptation of Little Old Sod Dugout on the Claim, which originated in Smith County, Kansas in 1880. And then I kept saying around 1883, somehow it changes. You know, it becomes Little Old Sod Shanty on the Claim, and the plot changes. So last week we were talking about the Buddy song, Little Old Sod Dugout on the Claim, Billy and Frank out on the claim, and their pot of beans and all that sort of stuff. And then somehow, bang, it's a song about a bachelor, or actually a married guy without spouse, in a sod shanty on the claim, and wishing she'd come out. And it becomes quite a comic song instead of the more serious sort of buddy. Actually, a whole lot of male affection in that first one. And then it morphs into this comic song. How did that happen? And I couldn't track that down, just where that happened. And I still don't have it exactly clinched. But I do know this. The song had to leave Kansas and come back to make that change. Well, bear with me on this. Here, a few weeks ago, I made note of K.F. Ebner, a nonpartisan leaguer writing in 1916, who asserted already in 1880, Little Low Sod Shanty, some permutation of this complex I'm talking about, was being sung in the Jim River Valley of Dakota Territory. And I kind of dismissed that. No. And this fellow Ebner had his own version that was a little bit non-standard, and I thought, well, he's pulling our leg in a bit there. But it bothered me, There's something about that. So I went into the digitized newspapers and searched during 1883 for Little Old Sod Shanty on the Claim and permutations thereof in Kansas, and then in South Dakota, North Dakota, Dakota Territory, in other words, as it would have been in those days. And darned if the song doesn't show up in Dakota Territory as Little Old Sod Shanty on the Claim first. And in fact, I've got it as early as April of 1883 in Pierre, Dakota Territory, a report of the song. And then several different versions of it. Well, then we come back into Kansas, and it's just about coincidental, but just a little bit of lag time. Bang, 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 it shows up in 4 or 5 different communities. And here's the real stinger. A certain line I'm about to sing, I'm going to sing the Cedarville text. All right, now, okay, this is suspicious too. Cedarville is a little town, now a ghost town, now gone, in Smith County, where the song originated in 1880. But now it's back in this new form in Cedarville in 1883 as Little Old Sod Shanty on the Claim. But I'm going to come to. I'm going to sing the Cedarville text from 1883, Little Old Sod Shanty on the Claim, the reinvented song. And we're going to come to a certain point where it's going to clinch it. Oh, the song moved here from Dakota Territory. Okay, the Cedarville text. I am looking rather seedy now while holding down my claim, and my victuals are not always dished the best, and the mice play shyly round me as I lay me down to sleep in my little old sod shanty in the west. But I rather like the novelty of living in this way, though my bill of fare is often rather slim. I'm happy as a clam on this land of Uncle Sam, in the rich and fertile valley of the Jim. Now, for those of you not from Dakota Terry, the Jim, that's the familiar name for the James River, which originates in the heart of North Dakota and flows across South Dakota to enter the Missouri. The rich and fertile valley of the Jim. That's your key that this Kansas text migrated from Dakota Territory. 4 out of 5 Kansas texts in 1883 refer to the Jim River Valley. There you go. All the hinges, they are leather, and the windows have no glass. The roof, it lets the howling blizzard in. I hear those gentle prairie wolves come a-tramping round the door of my little old sod shanty on the claim. Can you tell I get a little excited, Dr. Kelly, when
You're pretty fast.
When I clinch a connection like that? Oh, when I left my eastern home so full of hope and joy, try and earn my road to wealth and fame, I little thought that I'd come down to burning twisted hay in my little old sod shanty on the claim. My clothes are plastered up with dough, I'm a-looking like a fright, and everything is scattered around the room. And I fear if P.T. Barnum should get his eyes on me, he would take me from my little cabin home. Ah, the hinges are of leather, and the windows have no glass, and the roof that lets the howling blizzard in. I hear those gentle prairie wolves come a-tramping around the door, and my little old sod shanty on my claim. Wish some tender-hearted miss would pity on me take, extricate me from the mess I'm in. All the angels, they would bless her if she'd share my humble lot in my little old sod shanty on the claim. And when we make our fortunes on these prairies of the west, just as happy as 2 bedbugs will remain, we'll forget the troubles and the trials of the past in our little old sod shanty on the claim. Once more, ah, the hinges are of leather, and the windows have no glass. The roof, it lets the howling blizzard in. Hear those gentle prairie wolves come a-tramping round the door of my little old sod shanty on my claim. Oh, my little old sod shanty on my claim. Nice little variations of text in there, too. Instead of the coyotes, it's got the gentle prairie wolves. Now, in the Northern Plains, prairie wolf is lingo for a coyote. Get the same bounty for shooting either one of them, but it's a prairie wolf. There we have it. How little old sod dugout on the claim became little old sod shanty on the claim. Not exactly the smoking gun, but the smoke still lingering in the room. Oh, I wonder if we have any news from NDSU Press tonight. Are you doing anything?
I'm slaving away. We had to do inventory for all the books that we still have in stock since 1950, and all the equipment, all that, getting ready for making our fire and tornado biannual report, so we can have that. So that's kept us pretty busy. But when I'm not doing that,
that's a really interesting report there.
It's not all fun and games. But when I'm not doing that, I'm working on a turkey book that is 440 pages, and you will be surprised to know that there's some parallels with the songs you sing about cowboys, because they were turkey drives.
There were turkey drives, yes.
Hundreds of miles driving turkeys, and the author does lament that there are no turkey boy songs, like cowboy songs, and there's no Pulitzer Prize winning lonesome turkey man. So he's a pretty good writer. I'm enjoying it. And,
Lonesome turkey.
We hope to have this out in September.
I look forward to it.
Thanks.
Which I say honestly, I'm looking forward to the turkey book. Did I ever tell you I used to raise turkeys?
No.
Yes, I have. We'll talk about it later.
That's when you weren't having to pick up all the rocks and buckets and stuff.
Oh, yeah, come on.
All that hard work you had to do.
Yeah, I raised turkeys for recreation.
Okay.
I'm allowed to. Oh, well, okay, I got a publications report here.
Well, yes, you do.
Facebook friends already have seen the Companion to American Agricultural History, edited by my old friend Doug Hurt. It's the Wiley Companion. It's kind of it's heavy. I don't want to carry that around. It's about 600 pages, I guess. Yeah. What do we got? Yeah, just about 600 pages. My privilege to write the chapter on agriculture on the Great Plains for this work. Graduate students for decades now will be cussing my name. So it's got a lot of bibliography in it, I can tell you. But it kind of tickled me when it arrived in the mailbox here by RFD at the estate on Willow Creek, and it actually quotes a Great Plains folk song, my chapter on the Great Plains. It quotes Kansas land, Dakota land, and farmers and their troubles with the changing climate. We have any troublemakers in the chat line this week?
No, but there's quite the hum going on about your plaid shirt, which people were wondering, is that a new shirt?
Well, actually, it's a really old one that's pulled out.
It
Looks like it needs washing.
I just said it's a clean one. I think there's a bunch of pollen over on your right shoulder. No, that's part of the ambiance.
Well, but I did like these peonies. They smell good here.
Yeah.
Dr. Kelly cut these just a few minutes ago.
There's some remarks about the peonies.
Oh my God, they're not going to last much longer. When it hits,
I know.
100 and 105 here over the weekend, they'll be toast.
Yeah. Oh, and a couple people had actually met and been in the audience during programs by Baxter. So there's a little sideline chat going on about that.
I have never been to one of his live performances.
Well, apparently it was remarkable.
I would imagine. Yeah. There are people who think that he wrote Cowman's Prayer, but just he and other cowboy poets, as an homage, would recite that thing.
Okay.
However, now we know where it came from. I'm not a poet, I'm not a singer, I'm not a musician, but I'm privileged to have acquired quite a bit of knowledge about the provenance of these things. I just felt like singing a real farm song here tonight, because I didn't get through them all last week when we were doing farm songs from the plains. And so I pulled one out of the songbag, the Hayseed by Arthur Kellogg. It's one that we've tracked down in the past. The first text published in October of 1890 as a song for the Farmers Alliance, which became the People's Party, the Populist Party. And this guy, Arthur Kellogg, who wrote it, was a well-known hymn writer. And several of the Great Plains folk songs, I'm not stuttering, several of the Great Plains folk songs actually originated with clergymen. Now, this makes a little bit of sense because particularly the evangelical preachers of the 19th century, and probably today too, if they're not too concerned about their makeup for television, they were concerned about music music is a great vehicle for bringing the desired effect at a religious meeting, and often themselves would lead the singing, and often themselves wrote hymns. Kellogg, though, crossed over and wrote for a political purpose in this song. And as he crossed over, he brought a tune with him. It's a tune of "Save a Poor Sinner Like Me." But, he doesn't really have intellectual property rights problems with that, because before that it was a drinking song. These songs cross right over from being tavern songs to being tabernacle songs pretty readily. And then he moves it into the political realm. Now, these stanzas, and there are a number of them, are full of code talk and information about the populist farm politics of the 1890s. I'm not going to stop and explain all that sort of thing. Let's just rip off the song, what he's saying. And see if we can generate a little bit of outrage here. I once was a tool of oppression, as green as a sucker could be, and monopolies banded together to beat a poor hayseed like me. Beat a poor hayseed like me. Beat a poor hayseed like me. Monopolies banded together to beat a poor hayseed like me. Now the railroads and party bosses together did sweetly agree. They thought there would be little trouble, in working a hayseed like me. In working a hayseed like me. In working a hayseed like me. Thought there would be little trouble, in working hayseed like me. Well, they told me that politics always were filthy and foul, don't you see? And raising my turnips and cabbage would be better for hayseeds like me. Would be better for hayseeds like me. Would be better for hayseeds like me. And raising my turnips and cabbage would be better for hayseeds like me. And at every election they fed me with taffy as sweet as could be. But when they elected their ticket, they forgot the poor hayseed like me. They forgot the poor hayseed like me. They forgot the poor hayseed like me. When they elected their ticket, they forgot the poor hayseed like me. And they sold themselves out to the banker. Thought there would be a fine spree to fire all the greenbacks and silver and rob all such hayseeds as me. And rob all such hayseeds as me. And rob all such hayseeds like me. They fire all the greenbacks and silver and rob all the hayseeds like me. Well, they went into league with the devil for the sake of a high license fee. But never a cent of the profits would come to a hayseed like me. Would come to a hayseed like me. Would come to a hayseed like me. No, never a cent of the profits would come to a hayseed like me. But now I've roused up a little their greed and corruption I see. And my neighbors are waking around me, and I find they're all hayseeds like me. Neighbors are waking around me, I find they're all hayseeds like me. Yes, the neighbors are waking around me, and I find they're all hayseeds like me. Oh, but now we formed an alliance, from oppression we're bound to be free. And the ticket we vote next November will be made up of hayseeds like me. We'll be made up of hayseeds like me. We'll be made up of hayseeds like me. Yeah, the ticket we vote next November will We got a little beagle agitation going on that one too, didn't we? Turkey? Rabbit? Gopher?
I think we should mention too that an acquaintance of ours just celebrated his birthday, but also received a Lifetime Achievement Award. John Lauk in South Dakota, Frederick Jackson Turner Award.
Of the Midwest History Group.
Yeah.
John's too young for a Lifetime Achievement Award. I mean, he's going to have another one.
I think the people who were giving the prize noted that, but they said even though he's too young for it, it's still overdue. So they're really proud of him there, and he's done some great work.
He did. Our beat's the Great Plains. His is the Midwest. They overlap. They smack together. And we have a lot to talk about when we get together. Mm-hmm. Good, John. Well done. Well, let's see. Put at the top of this for the theme tonight, high summer. Well, it's kind of what we got, as we're indicating. Here we're getting the 3-digit temperatures awfully early. Ordinarily, we think of high summer in this part of the country. I'm talking about the northern plains, as rolling in sometime in July. But here it is, smack upon us in June, but I guess we'll take it. Those of you who have been following the Willow Creek Folk School through the winter months, you know the deep dark that envelops us here. You know, and we light candles and things like that, and try not just to curse the darkness, but to light many candles, you see. And we're on the backside of that right now. Or maybe this is the top and the winter's the backside. I don't know. Judging by the light bathing the landscape for extended hours, this is the high summer, about the time of the summer solstice. So I've got a solstice song. There's no pagan ritual in it or anything like that here. It's just kind of life experience. Days are long, and with daylight saving time, that time in the evening just goes on. And we got the spruce trees back out front and string the hammocks in them, and we use up a little bit of that evening idle by reading in the hammocks for a while, and that's good. Because if you just try to work through till dusk, you're going to get in trouble. And so that's what the calendar ballad is about this week. Are we ready for it?
I think so.
In the tradition of our last song, I just borrowed the melody. Now there once was a lad from Missouri, a strapping young fellow, they say, with a strong reputation for working from dawn until dusk every day. Now he thought he might go to the prairies, have a look at that wide open land. Some farmer in big North Dakota would be happy to hire a good hand. Got a job with a Norwegian farmer, and he slept in the barn on the straw. And all the young Norwegian lasses had a look and they liked what they saw. So he picked rock and mucked out the stable, did the seeding and worked cattle too. No matter the task or the weather, well, the lad from Missouri pulled through. This lad had the muscle and stamina, and he had the right attitude. But the thing that he failed to consider was high summer at high latitude. For the days are as long as a sermon for a sinner who will not repent. And the best willing worker is tuckered way long before daylight is spent. He was harrowing the summer fallow one evening 3 weeks into June. And he thought as his spirit was flagging, the sun would be setting now soon. Well, they found him out there in the morning, in the dirt and the straw he lay sprawled. No visible sign of a struggle, but the coroner had to be called. Now the neighbors commenced laying wagers on what caused the death of the lad. They said poisoning, trampling, heart failure, and other things equally bad. But they nodded their heads in agreement, for the coroner's verdict was shrewd. The lad died from pure lack of slumber. High summer in high latitude. No use doing another song, I just screwed them all up anyway. But we hope tonight, as other nights, maybe we've all picked up just a little bit more knowledge, appreciation, enchantment for the Great Plains of North America, because it's our home on the range, where the deer in the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the sky on a cloudy all the day. Though the skies are not cloudy all day. Dr. Kelly?
We now conclude today's edition of the Folk School on Willow Creek. We invite you to join us again next Friday at 8 p.m. Central Time for more songs and stories.